everyone, welcome to episode 8 of This Is Actually Pretty Cool. If you're new here, this is a web series where I am researching and cooking my way through a 1998 cookbook / memoir. It's called In the Kitchen with Elinor Donahue. You can go to episode 1 just to find out more about, who is Elinor Donahue and what you can expect from this series. All right. So today we are on page 31 of the book, and then the recipe is on page 32. But before we move to the recipe, we're just going to catch back up with Mary Elinor Donahue, as she was known at the time, and her mother, Doris Donahue. You may remember from the last 2 episodes, they have moved from Tacoma to Los Angeles, supposedly for her mother's health and for her mother to have a vacation. That's kind of the official reason for their move. If you remember from last episode, they have discovered the Hollywood farmers market. And so we talked a lot about that last episode. And so where we are today, they have also found a home to live in, which, as someone who has moved a bit as a child and then again as an adult, it is really super nice to have a home to live in. So, yay for shelter. Anyway, so she explains that the home they found was on Virgil Avenue in Los Angeles. This neighborhood, they weren't having the best time economically, and neither were Mary Elinor and Doris. So, they just kind of found one another, the neighborhood, and this mother and daughter duo. There was a house on Virgil Avenue that the owners were renting out rooms to tenants, just because, again, the neighborhood was just not in a great place economically, so these owners needed the extra money. Mary Elinor and her mother needed a place to stay, so it was a match made in heaven. And she says, quote, "Mother and I were cozy and content there, even though Santa Claus was unable to find us that year because we had moved, but I was happy." She also talks about, with this home, they were in a second floor apartment with kitchen privileges. And so what I was able to figure out is that sometimes when you were living as a boarder in a home, right, that's been kind of divided into these apartments, or, the rooms have been made into individual residents or whatever it is, right? The house would have a kitchen, but sometimes you either didn't have physical access to the kitchen, or sometimes the owner of the home was like, no, we don't let tenants use the kitchen. You'll have to kind of figure out your own cooking or your own food situation. It does remind me of when I've stayed in Airbnbs where I'm staying in someone's guest room. Sometimes it'll say, on the website for the listing, either yes, tenants can use the microwave or whatever in the kitchen, or no, we don't let the renters use the kitchen at all. You'll have to work out your own food stuff, right? So it's very similar to that, so just kind of think about that. Luckily, they did have kitchen privileges, which, again, I'm sure if you're not doing the best, financially, it is generally, not always, but generally cheaper to cook at home than it is to go out to eat. And so it was good that they had access to the kitchen so they could, just make food on, cheaply, and not have to worry about let me go to a restaurant and then let me also pay a tip and things like that, right? So she tells us that one night they actually went to go see a radio show. And so basically, before we had television, we had these radio shows. There are actually some really cool podcasts where they've essentially taken these radio broadcasts and they've re-aired them. And so I'll put some of those in the show notes because I know there are a few that I've really enjoyed. But until this, I wasn't aware that people could actually just go see those radio shows happening. I really thought you just hear them on the radio and that's kind of it. But it is really cool that they were able to actually go see it happening. She says admission was free. And the show they ended up seeing was a show called The Spike Jones Show. She said it took place on Vine Street above Hollywood Boulevard. And so this is actually our first celebrity that comes into play who is not Elinor Donahue, right? And so even though she does not perform with him or meet him or anything like that, this is our first kind of celebrity appearance here. So I did want to go ahead and just tell y'all briefly about Spike Jonze. Firstly, he is not to be confused with the filmmaker Spike Jonze. The filmmaker spells his last name Jonze, and the Spike Jonze we're referring to spells his last name the traditional way of Jones, right? So he was born Lindley Armstrong Jones in 1911. He was a musician, a band leader, and a conductor, and he really specialized in spoof arrangements of popular songs and classical music. So in terms of the popular songs, think of Weird Al Yankovic, right? Where he takes, he took Gangster's Paradise and made Amish Paradise as a spoof of that, or he took Just Beat It by Michael Jackson and did Just Eat It instead as, again, a spoof. So that's what Spike Jonze reminds me of, and I'd love to maybe look into whether Weird Al Yankovic was inspired by him in any sort of way. And then he would also do the spoof arrangements of classical music, so he put in like gunshots or whistles or cowbells or different other little sound effects. His son, Spike Jonze Jr., said, like, essentially paraphrasing, like, it wasn't as easy as just having a gunshot go off, because if the gunshot was replacing something that was a high C, the gunshot itself also had to be in that high C range, or it would sound horrible. So there was actually an art to this. And so I thought that was really interesting. And he and his band recorded under the title Spike Jonze and His City Slickers. And they toured the United States and Canada as the, quote, musical depreciation review. Now, he was genuinely a really good musician. And so he would also try to do these more serious arrangements. And but the crowds and his fans were like, yeah, great that you can play. We really love these spoofs. So that is mainly what he did. He passed away on May 1st, 1965. He had smoked for a very long time, and so he passed away due to complications of that. He was married to a woman. This was his second marriage, but he was married to a woman named Helen Grayco. And I'm bringing her up just because there are some similarities between her and Elinor Donahue that I thought were really cool. So Helen Grayco was also born in Tacoma. She was born in 1924, so she was 13, or she would have been 13 when Elinor Donahue was born. And she also started singing in Tacoma, and at age 8, she sang on radio. Now, the radio show she sang on was in Los Angeles and not Tacoma, but I just loved those similarities between these two women. And Helen Grayco actually just passed away in 2022. So, she was, like I said, born in 1924, so she almost made it 100 years, which is really neat. All right, so Elinor Donahue in the book, she says, quote, Spike's show was a clean, fresh melange of joy and silliness. And then she moves us to today's recipe, which is vegetable confetti. She says it reminds me of him, and she does let us know that it is great hot or at room temperature. It travels really well. It can be reheated. She describes it as sort of a quiche without the crust, which I feel like I've had quiche before, right? And I feel like the crust either makes or breaks a quiche, right? Like, it could be amazing, but if the crust is like stale or just too doughy or whatever, like it just, like I said, makes or breaks it. So I'm very excited to make our confetti vegetables. All right, so for our confetti vegetables, we are taking 1 cup of mashed cooked carrots, put that in a large bowl, 1 cup of frozen chopped broccoli that's thawed, put that in the same bowl, a 10-ounce package of frozen whole kernel corn, it's also thawed, and do that, 1 cup of milk, in there. A cup of cracker crumbs. This was really fun because I got to like punch them in a bag. So we're gonna put that in there. And half a cup of shredded sharp cheddar cheese. Put that in there. 1/4 of a cup of minced onion, and it should be fresh onion, not dried. Rest of the onions out of there. And then, let's see here, 1/3 of a cup of melted butter. Okay. And then salt and black pepper to taste. Do that. Hopefully I didn't do too much salt. We'll do some pepper. And then 1/8 of a tablespoon cayenne pepper. So it says 1/8 of a tablespoon. I'm wondering if that means 1/8 of a teaspoon. I certainly hope it does because that's what I have here, right? So we're gonna put that in there. All right, so then we're gonna take this, we're just gonna mix it up. A little bit, not to do it a lot. It looks really good. Like already, I can smell like the onions and the crackers in there. All right, so this is that's what it looks like mixed up. See all the ingredients in there. All right, so then we're going to take 4 eggs. Go ahead and get these cracked. Trying to do this thing that someone on TikTok does, and I don't know that that went super well. Don't think I'll try that again. Put that in the bowl. All right, if I can get the eggshell off my hands, that would be amazing. Just gonna do regular. Yeah, I'm not doing excellently at doing these eggs, let's just say, right? I don't know what's going on today. All right, 3rd time's the charm, maybe, just doing an egg like normal. Really starting to think it's the eggs, y'all. All right, and 4th time might be the charm. Okay, all right. There's our eggs, and then we are going to beat these until frothy. Should be fun in our little tiny bowl here. Use a larger bowl. Oh well, you live and you learn. Right. Does anyone know how long you have to beat eggs until they are frothy? Let's see here. We will find out together how long that is. Right now they just look like beaten eggs. We might cheat on this part, or we might not. Let's see. Probably should have done this before. Should have done this when I was prepping the rest of the ingredients, but like I said, you live, you learn. Progress, not perfection. Beat it, beat it. I don't know the words, beat it. Something, 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 still don't know the words. It doesn't matter who's wrong or right, just beat it. Dun 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 dun. Just beat it. Dun 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 dun. Very much looking forward to having that song stuck in my head for the next few days. All right, we're gonna call this done. All right, so then we're going to sing a little song with my oven because it's preheated. Anyway, so we are going to blend this into our little, carrot mixture. Oh, look, it was frothy after all. Look at that. All right. She says to blend it lightly into it, so I'm not sure kind of what that means. So we're just gonna do it as lightly as I understand how. All right, so it is blended lightly, I guess, into that veggie and all other good things mixture. So then we're going to take a 2-quart capacity round glass baking dish. She says 10 inches round and 2 inches deep. This is what we had. You want to go ahead and butter that, and then you're going to pour the mixture into it. I'm going to make sure we get all the mixture. Because I come from a family where our motto is waste not, want not. And also because I want all the mixture. All right, so I'm just going to spread that around. All right. Oh, it looks really good. It's nice and colorful. Okay, I'm going to see if I can show that to you without dipping everything, right? So there, all right. So we are going to bake at 350 degrees for 40 or 45 minutes, or until a knife inserted near the center comes out clean. And here is our finished dish, Confetti Vegetables. As you can see, there it is. All right, and mine cooked right at 40 minutes. Of course, oven times vary, but all right, so I am going to just kind of cut down here. I'm thinking that if this turns out really well, I can have this for breakfast this week. I don't think I cut it evenly, but oh well. All right, so I'm just going to take, let's not touch the thing without oven mitts, Jennifer. All right, so that you can kind of see what it looks like. It is very steamy. All right, and it looks like the buttering the dish really helps it not stick. So hopefully that means cleaning up will not be too bad. All right, so this is the moment of truth, y'all. So far, we've done really well on our recipes. No recipe has been like a, nah, not gonna do it. So let's see if we can continue that streak without burning my tongue. All right. Again, blowing on it. This is what the professionals do. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking maybe not for breakfast, maybe like for lunch or something. But all right. So if you'll remember, our rating scale is, or our rating, criteria, not really a scale, is would I make this for myself and would I make this for someone else? So would I make this for myself? Taste-wise, yes. Now, there was a lot of prep. So it's definitely not like a last minute thing. I had to defrost the vegetables last night. I had to do, all the, cooking and mashing for the carrots, and then the, broccoli had to be chopped up. So it's definitely not like a last minute thing, but for like a weekly thing, like weekly lunches or weekly dinners, like, yeah, for sure. Cost wise, it wasn't too bad. So yeah, would I make this for someone else? Yeah, like I would definitely make this for like a family event or like a church event or something. I think it's really good. I think it's, pretty healthy. I think probably not having the crust probably adds to, it being a fairly healthy meal. I do wonder how tomatoes would be in it. Like that would be really interesting, I think. And then also, sorry, also maybe like a different type of cheese. So yeah, we are really good on our recipes. We are doing super well. None of them have been duds yet. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you enjoyed learning about Spike Jones and his wife and learning more about Miss Donahue's move to Hollywood. And with that, I'm going to let y'all have the rest of your Sunday back. And thank you for tuning in, and keep coming back for more. Bye.